7th episode of Rocket City Yarns podcast. I'm Lisa, and I am Rocket City Yarn. So, if you've joined us before, you kind of know a little bit about me, but if you haven't talked to us yet and you're a new viewer or a new subscriber, my name is Lisa. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, the home of Rocket City, so Rocket City Yarn, and I am 39. I used to be a chemist and an engineer type, and I worked in science and technology. And a couple years ago, I came home to start homeschooling my son, and I got to spend a lot more time with my crafting things, knitting and yarn and everything, and I got really into it, and I started saying, I'd like to have my own yarn colors. So being a chemist, I researched how to do it, and I started dyeing yarn. And dyeing yarn kind of takes my two favorite things, chemistry and knitting, and kind of puts them together. And so I just fell in love with that. So I decided this year, and I think it was about April, I decided to make my own company. So you can find me on Instagram daily, pretty much daily. I like to put a little post what I've been up to on Instagram, or you can find me here on my YouTube channel at rocketcityyarn.com, or you can check out my website at rocketcityyarn.com. And I think it's in my Instagram, I put a link that kind of has all my stuff, like my shop and my website and my YouTube channel and my Facebook, all kind of in there together, so you can just click on what you want. So we're all over social media, so if you want to stop and chat, I'm always available to chat about yarn and homeschooling or whatever it is that you like to do. And I love gadgets. I'm the ultimate nerd, so if you have something cool and sciencey and you want to show it, then feel free to give me a message or put it on Instagram or tag me or whatever. So it is great to meet you guys. So it has been a couple weeks since I've podcasted or videocasted here on YouTube. I usually try to do 1 week a video, the next week a written blog. Because I have a written blog as well. But I've just been really busy these last couple of weeks, kind of settling into our routine. But we've also been traveling on the weekends and doing different things, and so it's been a little bit harder to get to being on video, being camera ready. Let's face it, as a homeschooling mom, makeup hardly ever happens. So anyway, plus my allergies have been going strong. Hopefully that's indicative of fall weather coming. I'm trying to make fall happen. I even got my fall decorations out, hoping that it would come early, because this year has been, I like warm weather, but this year has been extremely hot. So I am ready for fall to get here. I am ready to make fall happen. So one thing I wanted to talk about is what crazy fun things have I got to do recently that are not quite knitting related. Well, one thing I got to do recently is I got to go to a Backstreet Boys World Tour concert. So my sister-in-law and I tickets to the Backstreet Boys last Christmas, and it was this past week. So I got to go to a Backstreet Boys concert. Well, my 13-year-old self was like, oh my goodness, it was just intense. I did not realize how many hits and how many things they had, so it was a great show. And one funny thing was, now I'm in a sea of like 16,000 women, my age, a little younger, a little older, but, pretty, 26 years ago, so of a certain age. Well, there was a huge line for the little alcoholic beverages, and I was the only one who got carded in the line. And I thought, at first I was kind of like, what? I'm almost 40. Why am I being carded? And then I thought, girl, you are aging well. Because 21, that's pretty good when you're 39. So I decided to take it. At first, it was a little embarrassing, but I decided to take it as I'm aging well. Of course, you could see, because I haven't been getting my hair touched up on the gray, so it looks kind of like I have blonde highlights, but the gray is coming, so pretty soon I doubt I'll be getting carded. But it was just a funny thing that happened. So another thing that we did very recently is, I know I've mentioned, and he may have made a cameo, my new kitten Cypher that we got back in February when he was a couple of months old. Well, he was a bit of a mischief maker, and we felt that he might do better in a 2-cat household where he could have someone to play with. So we got a new kitten from the cat rescue. It's called Feline Fanciers of Marf Cat Rescue here in where we live. And her name was Delilah, but we changed it to Sabrina. My little boy named her. That was his favorite girl name. So it has been so fun having a little kitten again. And they've been kind of, at first, they've been a little wary of each other. But it's been a couple days, but we got her on Saturday. So today's, I think, Tuesday. So it's been a few days. Well, yesterday I saw them sleeping together, so they're working it together, so they're going to be friends very soon. So that's been fun, but I've also been thinking about this will be fall, and so I've kind of been like, I need some decorations that aren't breakable, because this is the first, holiday started decorating season that I've had new little kittens around that like to climb and jump, and I don't really want to have too many breakables. So one of the kind of fun things that I started doing is, so I've also been on a bust my stash kind of kick. Like, I'm not going to buy yarn until I use some of the yarn I have. And it's kind of hard in August here to really get to knitting because it's so hot, and I don't know, I just kind of feel like I lose my knitting mojo. So I tried to do something kind of different and unique that will make me feel more cheery and fall-like. So one of the things that I did is I wanted a little banner to hang on my fireplace that was non-breakable, that I could put, say, like, Happy Fall. So I looked on Ravelry for some patterns, but I didn't see anything exactly like I wanted, so I kind of just said, well, I'm going to knit a triangle, put 2 holes in it to run an I-cord through, and I'm gonna put letters on it. So I've done the I-cord, and so I have different colors. So what I decided to do is I got some fall colors out of my stash, and so the background will be neutral. Will be a neutral color, this color, and then the letters I'm gonna change to be different colors. And I think what I'm gonna do is like happy, and then one little part of the banner is going to have a little, maybe a leaf on it or a pumpkin, and then the other half will say fall. So I got the H done as a little test run, and if you can see, there's a hole, like a little eyelet hole here, here, and here. And what I'm going to do is I made this little I-cord here, and I'm going to basically, I'm not going to string them all on right now. But I'm basically going to just have this little I-cord going through the H and, well, the little letters, and it's going to spell out Happy Fall. And you can see, and there's 2 more over here, so there's 4 holes to string the little I-cord through. And it looks like it's going to fit perfectly, and then I'm going to hang it on my fireplace. And I got this color for letter, and you saw that one, and this color. So the next letter has been started, so it's going to be brown, so that's it here. So I wanted to show that kind of, if you're looking for some kind of less breakable, and if I have some yarn left, which I'm pretty sure I'll have plenty, I was thinking about making maybe a striped throw pillow to match with the different colors. Because I have some Christmas pillows, but I don't have any fall ones, so I thought that might be fun. So what else? Oh, so I listen and have since I first started knitting the Yarniacs podcast. It is a true podcast. It's audio only, and it's on the if you have an iPhone and you go to podcast and just type in Yarniacs, it'll pop up. They have over like 200 episodes, so if you just start, you have so much fun to binge. When I started a couple years ago, they were maybe 100, and so I got to binge 100 episodes, and so it was really fun. And they kind of do this thing every year, which I had never done before, which was the Colors of Fall knit along. And what they do is they put out the Pantone colors, and then they you knit something, and it has to be started like in June, sometime in June, and end like sometime in September, so I need to get going. And then to enter your final object, you style an outfit. So like you might put some pants and a shirt or a sweater, and some people show it with them on it. Some people show it with, kind of styled and laying out on a bed or on in the picture. Anyway, and that's how you enter, and you can get prizes. And you can do loom knitting, you can do needle knitting, you can do crochet, and it's really, because they basically say anything that's a Ravelry craft, and those three things are the crafts in Ravelry. Well, I was looking through my stash, and I had 2 balls of this bulky, fuzzy yarn that had like an entire combination of those Pantone colors. And I said, this is the year that I'm going to enter. So I didn't follow a pattern, but I just made me a cowl, and I was going to wear it today, but it's still extremely hot here, so it may be made for the colors of fall knit along yarn X, but it will probably be the colors of winter at this point, it feels like. So I made that, and then I decided, well, I have just enough of the yarn left. I'll show it. Now, this was labelless in my stash, but I want to say that it was some sort of Reliance brand yarn. I want to say it was landscape yarn, but don't hold me to that, because I think what happened was, if you can see, it's very fuzzy, almost like roving type yarn. And so I think what happened when I originally bought it, I was trying to do a rather complicated cabled, move around a lot of stitches type pattern, and it did not do well with that, and so I ended up frogging it and then never using it. So I just decided to do that, and then I started a little hat. It's kind of squinched up on the needles here, but I started a little hat to go to match, so that's going to be awesome. So let me put that away here. And that's going to be just a fun, everyday knock-around hat and cowl for me. So that will be fun. So I also got to thinking, I said, I really want to do maybe some decorations for my Christmas tree that aren't breakable, because I use a lot of, hand-down ornaments on my tree. And some are breakable, some aren't, and some we've added, special to us. But a lot of them are breakable, and I think this first year with 2 kittens, I don't want to have a disaster on my hands, so I think I'm going to make some softer knitted ornaments. So I was thinking, what kind of ornaments would I like to do? And that's when I ordered this book called 20 to Knit, Tiny Christmas Toys to Knit. And it's by a Japanese lady, and I don't want to kill her name here, but it's Sachio Ishii, I think. If I'm butchering it, I apologize, because this is an awesome book. Because as part of my Bust My Stash theme this year, I kind of like to do that kind of at the end of the year, I want to get a lot of my scraps and things used. And so this has just some adorable Christmas knits that'll make great little ornaments. And there's reindeer and gingerbread man and polar bears and a gingerbread house and Santa and just elves and just cuteness all over. There's even an owl in here, which I love owls, as you can see. I put that there, so I'll show the owl. That owl looks so cute. So I can't show it here because I actually film my podcast using my iPad, and I got the electronic copy of the Arnie and Carlos Christmas Balls book. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, I'll put a link below about it, because I can't show it here, but it's so nice. And there's I think 50 different designs there, and they're kind of traditional Christmas balls, and I think they're all kind of made the same way. They just have different colorwork patterns on them, so that will be really fun to do. And because I like books and I love to read, and I never know when to say no, I said, well, I saw the Christmas book that she did, and I said, it kept recommending me more and more for books, and I kept finding more and more that I was just in love with. So my son likes space right now. He's first/second grader, so he is really into space, and our new rug this year in the schoolroom is space themed, and Of course, we're in Huntsville, so we have a lot of NASA things. So she, same author, the Japanese Sachio Ishii, she did mini knitted cosmos. Oh my gosh, it has all kinds of stuff. Look at this. Oh, it's a knitting treasure trove of all these cool things. So I thought that will be fun to make some little space toys for my son's Christmas stocking. So I thought that might be fun. It also might be fun to just make some Christmas ornaments that are space themed, because that would be fun. Because I do have a couple of little trees that I can decorate and kind of set around the house, so I said that would be fun. But then, of course, because, well, let's be real here, I can't stop myself sometimes. They had woodland creatures that had the nails. And a lot of the stories, because we're doing 2 curriculums, an online curriculum and then a Waldorf type curriculum in my homeschool, all the stories have gnomes and elves and fairy tales this year, and animals, and so this has woodland creatures. And one of the things in the I do a regular standard curriculum, but I also added the Waldorf because it has a lot of hands-on things, because my son is a very visual learner and he's ADHD, so doing hands-on projects is something he really enjoys, like arts and things. And my standard curriculum was nice, but it didn't have a lot of arts and crafts and things. And so Waldorf really added something extra interesting, because he likes design and art and different things, and he likes stories. And so one of the skills they learn in 1st grade is knitting. I think they do crochet in 2nd grade, so I've got to brush up on my crochet skills prior to that. But so I thought it would be fun if he could knit some of his own little animals. And I don't know if you can remember back to 1st grade, but there's a lot of things with habitats and oceans and jungles and stories and things. So there's a knitted safari, also by same author. There's an ocean, and there's a farmland. Oh my gosh, the farmland I have to show you. It actually has little landscapes besides the barn. There's actually a little and cute little cottage houses. So if you, I want to show that. So if you, because I have a Christmas village that was my mom's, and I don't want it to get broken this year, they have little cottages that you can knit. And so I was like, if you could dress them up by putting a little snow on top and put a little wreath or something, decorate a little bit, maybe do them different colors, you could make a Christmas village with the ones in this. And Unbreakable, also very good for stash busting and kittens. So I said that would be great. But the thing that I thought, besides the miniature vegetables and things, the cutest thing I saw in this book, besides the farm animals, was the straight up knitted square vegetable patch. I mean, it has carrots and lettuce. It's so cute. So this just had a lot of really unique things in it, and I'm so glad I got it. And it will also increase my skills, because one of the things that I don't really do a lot of, and I tend to knit in the round because I don't like seaming. And so learning to do the houses, oh look at that one, I almost got a heart. Doing the houses in here, that can really add something to my skill set. So I really liked that. And then the ocean, just because I have a lot of little mini skeins and scraps, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make all different color fish? So that is a fun thing, but I'm trying not to start those because I've shown a lot. I tend to have a lot of work in progress things. I'm one of those knitters that I do complete a lot, but I also start a lot. So you're like, whoa, oh, you completed 10 or 15 projects this year. Yes, I did, but I also started 30 other ones. So I just want to say you're not alone if you like doing that. But another thing I started because, well, when I first started knitting, tried to do a Joann's Bernat blanket stitch along a couple years ago, and I was a relatively new knitter, and I had not really done a lot with really bulky, thick yarn and that texture, and so I had trouble, and I got frustrated, and I just put it all away. And it was frustrating because I have this blanket's worth of blanket yarn in my stash that's just been sitting there mocking me and especially because I had started a couple of the panels in that original knit along, so I have partial balls in the same color, and it was just annoying me. And I said, well, what can I do with that? Well, Marley Bird, who I love, she has recently joined the Yarn Inspirations team, and they own Bernat Blanket. So she is doing they're doing another stitch along this year. It started, I think, yesterday, and she is doing the knit version. And I said, and it said you need 4 colors, and I thought, that's what I used in the other one. And I bet they change the colors a lot, just like the other one, so I'll be able to use up those little balls that I have, especially because I have piles of it. And that will be a great stash buster. So I started, I'll show the thing, I printed out the clue, and one thing about these is if you really want to do a blanket, and now this is going to be a small blanket, it's not going to be huge. So I think if I decide it would be a great baby blanket gift, or a little small throw, or if I decide not to do that, then I'll just probably take what extra yarn I have left and do a border around it to kind of make it a little bit wider. Because it said it was 44 inches is what you're supposed to get in width-wise, because it's all done in this one in one piece, which I also liked. No, see me. But I was like, I read someone's comment on one of the threads on Facebook, and they said they did it, and it was 28 inches instead of 44. And I was like, well, so Marley replied back, and she said, you're going to have to go up a needle size or whatever to get gauge. Well, I don't gauge swatch like I should, but I had looked on the gauge, and the gauge said that you needed 7 stitches and 16 rows to give you 4 inches in garter stitch. Well, I didn't want to do 16 rows of garter stitch to check this out, so I decided to just try to measure on my needles after I got going. And so I measured it, and it measured around, because it said to use a 36-inch circular needle or longer, and that's mine, I think maybe a little longer, maybe 39-inch after you put the needles on, because I just had to connect 2 of my ChiaoGoo cords together. So maybe a little longer than 36, but when I measured my knitting on it, it showed about 38, 39 inches. So that's not quite 44. So I'm like, am I knitting it too tight? And then I said, well, I'm just going to continue on, because you're already using a size 11 needle, and I don't really want holes in the blanket, and I like the fabric that it's making. So I was like, I'll just continue on, and if it's not wide enough, then I will just use extra yarn that I have or to do a border, because I have plenty of one of the colors. So it said you need 1 ball of contrast A, and then 2 balls each of 3 other colors. So there's 4 colors total. You need 2 balls of 3 of the colors. So, and then you need 1 ball of the extra color. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7 balls. So this will be a great stash buster. And so on this one, so it's going to be 6 weeks, and I think you knit 5 weeks, and then the 6th week is for finishing. And so I started on Clue 1, which came out, I think it's going to be weekly. I started on Clue 1, and it is labeled as easy, and it is very easy. And Marley Bird did a very nice intro video that explained how to do all the stitches if you weren't quite sure. And so very easy. And I think the Crochet Crowd Mikey is doing the crochet version. So and I think, I could be wrong, but I think they're supposed to look relatively similar. So you're going to whether you crochet or knit, so I guess it's just what you prefer. But I did not print out the crochet version, so you might want to check that to be sure. So section 1, which I'm on, it says here, the blanket is 6 weeks. It's a 6 weeks, worked on for 6 weeks. It's worked in one piece with one section in 5 continuous panels, where one section is completed each week with week 6 reserved for finishing. And so this week, one of the little sections is kind of like a diagonal thing, and it looks kind of like cable, but it's not. It's just twisted stitches, so it's very simple. And one of the things that I thought was nice is not only is it a short pattern, But if you prefer a chart, there is a chart. And this is a free knit along. You just have to buy your yarn. So I was going to show where I started the clue 1. There are, let's see here. So you've got one section in A, then I'm doing section B, and then I'm almost done with the B section, color B section. And then I have to do one more section with C, which is my blue color. So this is like a teal, and this is gray. And my other 2 colors are a multicolor that has blue, gray, and white, kind of creamy white, and this color blue. So I will be working on that, and it's a really quick knit. I decided not to increase my needle size, even though I wasn't quite at gauge with it being a little, because I really like the fabric and I don't want holes in my blanket. So and 11 is pretty big already, so I think I'm just going to do the whole thing like it says, and then if I'm not happy with the width as it is now, I will just see if I can show. If I'm not happy with the width that I get, then I will just put a border all the way around, like some cute scalloped border or something, to finish that up. So I wanted to show that. What else? Oh, I have, so I'm doing a stash buster time, so I'm not buying any yarn. Let me grab some tea because I'm dying of thirst. My allergies have been so bad. Oh my gosh, that's better. I love Earl Grey. So, I've not been buying yarn, but as you can see, I may have replaced that with books, and I also got a little naughty. So, you're probably already aware of my love of Erin Lane bags. So, she does Christmas in like May, or Halloween in May, Christmas in July, and she does creatures. Like, she does these live sales, and they each have a theme. And so, I bought a bag when I went to Stitches in Atlanta. It says United, the Sheeple Doctor Who, but I don't really have a Christmas knitting bag, and I don't really have a Halloweeny fall one. So I said, well, I can justify that. And plus I had she does like rewards points, and I had some from Stitches. So I got this in her Christmas in July. It's Woodland Creatures, and I feel like it will really work for winter and pretty much the whole holiday season, because even though it's Christmas, it has cute little, let's see if I can get it really close. It has cute little deer and woodland creatures. It's got bears, polar bears, and caribou and deer and things. So I will use that kind of like as a Christmas bag type. And so then I saw her Halloween stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't really have a Halloween purse type thing. And I really like her View You, the traditional ones, not the mini size, because you can see what's in it. And I have, I think, the crafting sheeple one, and I use that for purse sometime. And I said, well, if I get a View You shape, I can justify it as both my fall purse and a knitting bag. So, in honor of my new kitty and my love of owls, I got this Halloween View You. So it's got pumpkins, owls, and cats on it. And then it's got this little window, so if you can see the cats. So I love it. That will be a great fall purse, so I'm excited. And then I said, okay, that's it. I'm not buying anything else. Well, famous last words. So she did her creature one, and that's where she does like different creatures. And I was like, well, if I see a cat, I don't have a lot of cat things, and I'm a new cat owner. So if I see something with cats, I'll get it. Well, then I was like, no, I don't need that because I got the View You and the Halloween. But then she had owls in space. Okay, owls in space. I'm just going to leave that here. I cannot resist anything in space, and owls in space, because I have a thing for owls, was great. So this is her pattern keeper, which I have like the knit. I think it's Knit Picks makes it a kind of a hard one that stands up and it's got a magnet on it, and that's great for color work. But if you're like going to a coffee shop, which is when I'm most likely to like gather up all my stuff, or a place to knit, and it's kind of, there's not always a lot of space to set that down and have it all set up. So I was like, I really want something a little more portable for my patterns, so like they get neat. Because a lot of times I use a clipboard like this for my patterns if I'm at home, just because it's, you know, easy for me to kind of keep it in one place, and it's easy to find, and I can set it on. I have a little stand. Right now I'm using it on my iPad, but I have a little stand I can set it on, or use my other, you know, bigger cardboard one. But I really can't do that when I travel, and I just wanted something simple. So this, and I'll be honest, it doesn't have, it's open, so it's not like a zippered wallet. It's open, but you can fit a full page in it. And then what you do is, let me show you. If I can get it done correctly. So, hold on. You fold it up like a triangle, and then you snap the inside, and then wherever you're looking at it, you're looking at basically a third of the page, and you just kind of flip it around. So, let's see here. So, okay, there it goes. So it sits up, and you just look at the different sides and flip it around. Just got to make sure when you're doing a chart that you don't flip it the wrong way. Because sometimes you're depending on how you orient the picture, you go up the chart to have it look like this, but then when you're coming back, maybe back down the other side of the scarf or something, you might be going down the chart so that the two snowmen are facing you in the right direction. So just so you know, that might be an issue if you're, so just be aware of that. When I first started knitting, I was doing a table runner, and technically, I guess it doesn't matter, but in the table runner, it was like this, and the ornament was going this way. I'll have to get that out at Christmas so you can see it. It's packed with my Christmas decorations, but the ornament was going this way. I did on the loom. It was going this way, and then it had the middle part, and then the other ornament was going this way. It was kind of hanging down this way. So at first I'm going along, and then I'm like, wait a second. You're supposed to be going down for the other, not up for the other ornament. But honestly, I managed to pull that off with very few mistakes, and it was one of my first double knit color works that I did on the loom, and I have to say, for big worsted weight yarn, that was so fun, so easy, and it makes a perfect table runner. So if you like if you are a big loom knitter and you like doing the rake double knitting, you should try doing, I think the pattern was free. I'll have to look it up when Christmas. I'll get it out and I'll look up the pattern. I want to say I got it on Lions brand yarn, or one of those that's free online, and it was fun to knit, and it was a loom knit pattern, and it was just fun to knit. And I think it may have been a scarf, but I made it into a table runner because I had a table just that length that it fit on. So yes, I am doing stash busting. I'm not buying any yarn, but I have bought a few little things, the bags, and then the books. But I like to think that they were dual purpose purchases, because I can use a lot of those books in my homeschooling, as well as I'm going to use the Halloween purse in the fall. Now, one other thing. I didn't write any other things down on my notes other than, let's see, what am I doing next? What am I doing? Well, I haven't put any new things in the shop, but one thing that I'm planning on doing is I joined this group. There's a local kind of artist studio place in Huntsville called Low Mill. They redid an old manufacturing mill, and they use it for art. And on Saturdays, they allow you first come, first serve to bring your table in the nice air conditioning and sell your wares. And I thought, well, I would like to let people know about my podcast, know about know about my company, and also touch some of the things in real life that I have for sale on my website. So in the next couple weeks, when it gets a little cooler, my plan is to do that thing. I think I want to say, let me look, hold on, make sure I get it right. I want to say it's called Barking Dogs is the name of the group. Let's see here, my groups, I think it's called, I joined it, let's see, Barking Dog Artist Market. And so I joined their group on Facebook, and I said I really would love to do that. And so they graciously let me join the Facebook group, and I kind of looking and seeing how people do things. And so I've got to get a table and it's kind of funny because in my old life, I had to do a couple of times, I had to organize some conferences, and I had to do booths and things, and I thought, and being a technology chemist type, it was like, it was not my favorite thing to do was organizing the booth. And I said, when I have my own business, I'm not doing booths. And what's the first thing I'm doing in person? A booth. So that did make me laugh, but I do think, at least for crafting, especially for, I really feel that yarn is a very tactile experience. It's not really about budget, because you can make something beautiful with the cheapest yarn or the most expensive yarn. If you have a patience and have fun with it and work on your skill set, you can make the most beautiful things out of very simple materials. But at the same time, I still feel that touch is very important, especially like for me in the summer. I don't really like doing big, bulky, heavy things because it's so hot. But in the winter, like feeling the feel of the wool and across my fingers, especially a soft wool, it makes me feel cozy. And so that's one of the things. Like, I'm using acrylic, relatively low priced acrylic to do my banner for my fireplace. And you may be like, oh, you're an indie dyer that uses special fancy yarn. How could you knit with acrylic? Well, one, my budget doesn't always mean that every idea I have can be done with expensive yarn. Two, let's be real here, especially now that I homeschool, the budget went, even though I have more knitting time, the budget went much lower. So, and two, I'm not wearing the, against my skin, this banner, and I kind of want it to be stiff because I want it to kind of hang nicely, and this acrylic is soft enough, but it's stiff, and so it'll give a very stiff look to my banner, which is what I want. And if you look, let me show you, I'll show you the H again. Where are you, H? Oh, there you are. It's still connected. It really shows up well because it's very stiff, so the banner part will show up well. Now even though I'm going to show the floats, even though it's acrylic, yes, you can still block acrylic. So I will probably wet them a little bit and pin them out and kind of stretch them to make sure that my triangle is exactly right, because it would have been a better triangle, because I did decrease pretty normally and nicely, but it would have been a better triangle if this floats that I have here weren't kind of pulling it in a little bit at the bottom especially. So I had to do a little math to make sure that I had room for my border up at the top, which was going to be where I put the holes to put the string, and then still have plenty of room for a nice size letter, but I really wanted the bottom of the banner to be, smooth and kind of pointy. Now I was going to do squares because I thought, but I just think the triangle, even though it's a little more annoying because you have to decrease and you have to get the letter just in the right place so that it doesn't get interfered with when you do your side decreases, I still think that the triangle will look a little bit better. So I've got to finish that, and they're really quick too. It didn't take me but about an hour and a half. I kind of stopped because I went ahead and did my I-cord. And if you don't know how to do an I-cord, it is literally the easiest thing on earth. And now I will tell you that I only knit with circulars. Now I use small DPNs sometimes for DPNs. I use for socks, small DPNs for socks because I like doing those. Or I'll use it for the closing of a hat. So really, I don't typically use DPNs that much, but these size, I think they're 8s, they may be 9s. These Knit Picks DPNs, I have these, and I use these too. I'm sure I have more because they came in a pack of 4 or 5. But I use these for I-cords using worsted weight yarn, which is what this is. And so I made this, and I was like, you really could use these for the triangle itself if you smushed it down a little. But I ended up using one of my hat little short circulars for that. But these two things, if you have this, DPNs, pointy ends on both sides, I-cord is the easiest thing on earth. And yes, it will be a little stretchy because it's yarn. I'm not using cotton. I used acrylic. If I wanted it to be completely 100% not stretchy, so it'd be really stiff, but I kind of wanted it to be a little stretchy and drapey. But if I didn't, I would have used cotton, 100% cotton, so it'd be real stiff. But I looked at my cotton stash. I don't have a whole lot of cotton. When I knit regular things with cotton, I tend to use blends that are like a little bit bamboo and so a little bit linen, or something in it besides just cotton, because I find cotton a bit stiff and I don't really enjoy knitting with it. But I did find some very nice cotton that I use for really soft washcloths and dishcloths. I do have quite a few dishcloths. I usually typically knit dishcloths in the summer because, one, I get my stack back up for gifts, throw in some nice lotions and a pretty candle or soap, and they're a nice little gift for someone when you want them to think you thought of them more than a $5 gift card to Starbucks, but you don't have the budget to buy everybody something fancy. Having a nice little, especially the little soaps or something, and then doing that makes a really nice gift. So and once you use a hand knit washcloth with the extra soft cotton, you'll never go back. Even my husband's like, I made him a set of manly ones in like brown, and I think it was more of a khaki color, and then a dark brown. I striped them, and then I made two solid ones, one in the dark brown and one in the beige, and so he had a little set of 3. And then I made him also a little one where I used a little bit of scrubby yarn, and I won't be knitting that again, it's really rough. But he made the best scrubby. To make him a little face scrubby one too. And he was like, when I wash the towels and everything, he have a little spot in the linen closet where his little stack goes, because that's all he'll use now, because he's like regular washcloths are no go. So if you want to spoil your significant other, you can make those, but beware when he decides he needs a new one, he'll be like, I don't want you to buy a washcloth. So anyway, another thing, so I have finished some other things, but I haven't been broadcasting that much. So I think what I'm going to do is because around this time of year, between gifts and things and knit-alongs and different things, I will be stopping and starting quite a few projects. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one episode devoted just to finished objects. So of course, some of them might be Christmas gifts. So what I might end up doing is, I'll have to figure. Maybe I'll be really careful of how I post out that episode. But anyway, and I'll start showing, or maybe I'll show a clip at the end, and I'll say, if your family or friends or know me in real life, don't look at the end in case your Christmas gift is in there. So there's something, because I want people to see the things I'm completing, which a lot of times by the time I podcast, I've kind of moved on to a newer project, so I may not have started something else yet. Oh, and I did want to say, if you see my t-shirt, it says "There's no party like a Backstreet Party," and then it has my name on the back. A good friend of mine in my local moms group that really is supportive of all of our moms' endeavors, she makes t-shirts, vinyl t-shirts, and she made these for me. And not only are they gorgeous, very soft t-shirts in just the right color that I like, but they're longer too, so that's the thing when I'm not as thin as I used to be, and I like one that covers my belly, and these are, it manages to be both not clingy and yet not huge either, so very soft. So she made one for me and my sister-in-law. We had a great time, so thanks so much. I'm going to also put a link to her website on the show notes, so if you need a t-shirt, get the t-shirt. She's so nice. And she even, we met up and she delivered it to me. So she's local here, but I think she has an online business. So I know she has a website. So I'm going to get that website, make sure I get all the details right and put that below so that if you are in the market for a fun t-shirt, and like I had showed her kind of an example of what I want the font. She actually went and found the exact font. So she's great. And if you're in the market for a fun event and you need t-shirts, look her up, and her prices are reasonable, and she has great work. So what more can you ask between reasonable prices and great work and a nice customer service? So check her out. And I think that's all for now, other than I will be back in the dye studio. I've been doing a lot of knitting, but I will be back in the dye studio soon to do some of my new yarns. I didn't bring over the latest color that I did, which was a kind of I called it Flutter Pony, after a little pony that I had when I was like 6 that was pink and purple and blue, and her little wings are kind of all different colors, pink and blue. So I will put a picture of it at the end of this podcast so you can see it. But if you want to see new things that I have popping up or things that I'm doing, follow me on Instagram, because I post pretty much daily different things. And I just opened, I have a Facebook page. I don't put a lot in it separate because I have the website, and then on Instagram, when I post on Instagram, I dual post it on Twitter and Facebook. So, and then when I push things out from my website, it also posts on Facebook. So Facebook doesn't really have to be filled by itself because it gets fed by my Instagram and my website. So, but if you follow me on Instagram, you will always get updates on things that are going on. And I just created a group in attached to the Facebook page called Rocket City Yarn Friends. And the reason that I added that is I want to make sure that if there's a place that you want to discuss a project, or you're like, hey, I want to talk about the Bernat blanket stitch along that you showed, or have a question and you don't want to post it for all to see maybe on Instagram, then just put it, or even on the show notes, maybe you don't want to comment there, you can put it on the Facebook friends, and it's a closed group, so no one will see it. So if you want to post, hey, I'm knitting this thing as a gift for my mom, she's not a member, she won't be able to see it. So if you want to discuss things and you show and get some fun feedback from people who love yarn and things, and unlike other groups, I'm not going to go crazy with rules and admin things because I don't really have time for that. But what I will say is that the group is for friendly yarn things. Yarn, crochet, knitting, weaving, spinning, loom knitting, those type of things. All other topics such as mean-spirited things and politics and those ugly things, if you can't be kind, just don't comment. Just scroll on. Don't join. We don't need the title in the group is friends. Okay? If you wouldn't say that to your friends, don't say it on the group. It's that simple. It's friends for a reason. I want a friendly, happy place. So, and I won't warn you if it's something crazy, ugly, or you say something insane. I don't have time for drama. And I won't have people feeling excluded or treated or badly or anything. So I won't even hesitate for bye-bye. So just want to do that. So just make sure that everyone knows that that's the type of group you're joining. It's a friendly, inclusive, happy place. And so let's keep it that way. And I hate to have to say unpleasant things, but I've seen comments even on some of my favorite podcasters when I read the show notes and things that people say, and I'm just like, I can't believe they wrote that on there. So I just want you to know that I don't believe in writing things. I don't believe in people hiding behind keyboards and writing things that they wouldn't say in real life. I don't approve of that. So just so you know, that is 100% how I feel on that. Okay, on a positive note, I will be getting back in the dye studio. I'm going to be doing some sock yarns, and I think I'm going to be doing holiday colors. And I think I'm going to make some sort of advent calendar. I may not do too many because that takes a little longer to do, to dye them individually. And I know orders would have to be pretty quick. So I might just do a small amount of them and be like, okay, when they're sold out, they're sold out. But I am going to do some of that, so keep an eye out on Instagram for you'll get your notice there first. And I just want to say, I'm so glad to my good friend Spongy Boxcar, I think is her name on Instagram. She got her giveaway yarn in Malta, so I'm so excited because when I posted it here, they did not give me a tracking number. They said they didn't do that to Malta, and then they said, but don't worry. There's a receipt number, and if she doesn't get it in 4 to 6 weeks, then you can call. So I was like, I was so nervous, but it came very quickly to her, like in like a couple of weeks, and she said she loved it. So I'm so happy about that. So enjoy your mini skeins, and I'm so glad you won. Then I think that's everything. So it was great talking to you guys again. This podcast will be a little longer than usually I do 30 minutes, but I see I've gone to like 50 something minutes. But I had a lot to say because I haven't seen you guys in a while. So I'm going to sign off now, but I just wanted to say, if you like the podcast, subscribe to the channel, because I'm at 55 members, but I need 100 before I can get ad money. And I do this for fun, yes, but it does take some time, and it'd be nice to have to get to that 100 mark, so that when I do get to wherever the algorithm says I have enough viewing hours, I could get a few pennies from ad revenue. So please consider subscribing, and remember, like that video, subscribe to it, and remember, it's okay to want to stay home and knit. I'll see you guys later. Talk to you later. Bye.